So we back. Let's
Mhm.
pick up where we left off.
Okay, let's do it. Yeah, and I know we've been referring to grief a lot, but even when I think about trauma
Mm-hmm.
and experiences that we don't necessarily agree with, I kind of feel like they all correlate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Grieving something can be traumatic, and I don't think anybody would prefer grief or trauma. You know what I mean? So they all kind of go together where what we're talking about I think applies. You know what I'm saying? Like the practical ways of dealing with it applies. The therapy, the vulnerability and transparency, talking about it,
Yeah.
reflecting on it, letting yourself sit in it, getting the help, and not running to a person. And I feel like I'm in that season of realizing, because I'm a communicator and I feel better when I communicate.
Okay.
And so it's easy for me to just talk because that's a way that I could feel better. And it's funny, I know it's a lot of people that's the opposite. They won't crack nothing. Like, I'm not letting you know an ounce of anything that I feel or I'm going through. I'm keeping it tucked away. I'm keeping it suppressed. And communicating is great, but it's also where sometimes you gotta just not talk about it.
Mhm.
Especially when, I'm not saying not talk about it and just again suppress it and keep it tucked away where now you're not getting the necessary help. But if you know what's going on and you know what the remedy is, but you got to still sit with it, because talking can feel like a release.
Yes.
You know, if I'm telling somebody what I got going on or how I feel, they can validate how I feel, or I don't know, validate my experience. But what if I just have to sit with it? What if I have to sit with this experience right now and try to extract the lessons from it?
So I think that I agree. Grief, trauma, things we don't agree with, all are intertwined.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think all of them, some words that I believe all of them come with at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Acceptance,
Mm-hmm.
release, emotions,
Mm-hmm.
healing. And there are other words,
Right.
but just
Yeah.
those four stand out to me. You mentioned something that I think is so prevalent. Sit with it. How often do we just sit with it?
Mm. You don't want to. It's tough.
Yeah. Like, think about it. Like, sitting with it requires silence,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
allowing your mind to process. And here comes the emotions as you're processing them.
Yeah.
Here comes the scream. Here comes the holler. Here comes the punch in the wall. Here comes kicking something, Let me say, those rage rooms, when
Mm-hmm.
you
Oh
go and
yeah.
destroy stuff, I'm like, I need to invest in
Yeah.
those because
Right.
I know a lot of people who
Mm-hmm.
would benefit from going somewhere and just destroying
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Definitely.
And there are other people who would say they don't need it. And the reason why they don't need it is because they're already destroying their own lives.
Mm. Wow.
And when you talk about trauma, it's one thing to experience trauma that you didn't ask for. But then we got to talk about the trauma that you inflicted on
Yeah.
yourself.
Definitely.
Because
Mm-hmm.
we can't just, the devil. No.
Right. Let's take some
Let's
accountability.
take some account. Absolutely. And I think that we use the word trauma very loosely nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I, my trauma. Okay, you stepped on a thumbtack. It's just not like, come on, like that. That's your
Stepped on
trauma.
the-
You stepped on a thumbtack,
right,
and
right,
I'm not trying to compare and contrast anybody's trauma,
right.
but let's really get to the meaning behind these words.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it would do us a service if we really began to understand words in their proper context,
Absolutely.
so that we're not just throwing them around, yeah, I experienced trauma. They didn't cut my food stamps. This is traumatic for me. No, it's traumatic when you ain't getting no food stamps.
Absolutely.
And you trying to live and survive, and you go to work every day.
Every day. Mm.
It's traumatic to live in a country with a president who keeps saying that other countries are going to fund us and pay us, but yet we're paying additional fees,
Yeah.
tariffs. It's traumatic. I was in Florida, having dinner
Mm-hmm.
at this sports bar, and I was the only one in the room who was kissed by nature's son while the State of the Union address was on.
In Florida?
In Florida.
Oh my goodness.
And in my mind I said, if I got to fight my way out, I'm fighting in claw, and I'm going down swinging. But I was just sitting there, and I had no worries. And I think one of the reasons why I had no worries was because even they understand that they're living in a world underneath a leader who's inflicting trauma.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So when we talk about trauma, let's be clear to identify what really has been our traumatic experience.
Right.
Yeah. And not just find ourselves as Me Too people. You ever be in a room and people having a conversation and somebody say, talk about the experience that they went through, and then somebody say, oh yeah, that me too. Yeah, I went to... I don't like people like that. We're not going to become closer because you said you had a similar experience.
Yeah.
And then you ain't really have it.
Right.
We don't need no Me Too moments.
No. Especially when we talk about trauma. But there are trauma bonds.
Yes.
So there are people that will only connect because of those traumatic experiences. And I'm glad assuming they're legitimate.
They're legitimate indeed. And let me say this about trauma bonds. A trauma bond should have healthy outcomes. But when you are bonded with someone because of trauma and all the outcomes are negative, have you found purpose in the bond? So tell me, when you think about trauma bond, what comes to your mind?
I think that is not a real bond. I think if two people have been traumatized and have not recognized that they've been traumatized and do what needs to be done to heal from it, then you're bonding with somebody from a place of pain, because trauma changes you. When you're not sitting with it and not getting the proper help, it changes you as a person. And I mean, especially depending on what type of event we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it's not a real bond. It's just it's a codependency. I'm hurting, you hurting. Let's hurt together.
I loved it. I'm hurting, you're hurting. Let's hurt together.
Let's hurt together. Like, that's really what it is. Because if I went through something traumatic and I took the necessary time to heal, I wouldn't even want to connect with somebody who hasn't healed. For us to even be able to form a trauma bond. Yeah, I might have been through something traumatic. Let's say we went through the same exact thing. If I'm at a place where I'm growing through it and, healing through it, I don't want to be triggered every time I'm talking to you or around you because you still keep talking about that same thing that happened. And I'm not trying to minimize whatever it may be.
Right.
But yeah, I just don't think it's a real bond. I think it's just like you said, like I said, you hurt, I'm hurt, let's hurt. Let's inflict hurt. Let's do things to further that hurt and not have to take any sort of accountability. Because the thing is, when something traumatic happens to you, of course, you're not, depending on how it happens, right? Because as you said, sometimes we go through traumatic things, but it could be because of our doing. And we have to be able to take accountability to say, I should have never been involved with that.
Right.
So I don't accept what happened, but I could take accountability for my part. But then we have other people, as we know, who are involved in traumatic events that had nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
And that's hard, but it still doesn't define who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times when traumatic things happen, people do feel like something must be wrong with me for me to deserve that, for me to have gone through that. And then that's where your self-esteem gets involved and just destructive life choices at this point, because you clearly, your value is now lower because you feel like, well, it got to be me, when we know that that's not the case. But you can't allow it to define you. And again, I know it's easier said than done, which is why we're always going to advocate for help, for proper help, not just telling anybody. Telling people who you can trust, and then if you have to take it a step further, to talking to the professionals as often as you need to, and not feeling guilty about it. Crying if you need to, doing things that are healthy, but it goes back to sitting with it.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's so tough, whether it's grief, whether it's trauma, whether it's experiences that life just throws our way. It's tough to sit with that. So I'm not ever trying to minimize, like, oh yeah, just sit with it. No, it is tough. You feel like you fighting for your life and probably your sanity half the time. But it's like, am I going to sink or am I going to swim? Like, I have to make a choice one way or the other. And if I sit with it now and get the proper help now, then it's going to be where 10, 15, 20 years down the line, it's not affecting me in the same way. So now I can be triggered, but I'm better now. And maybe now I can help somebody else that went through that same exact thing, because I'm speaking from a place of healing, not of hurt.
Oh,
What?
you was thinking on that one right there.
Yeah, well, wellness coach Ty over here.
So I've never experienced a trauma bond. Maybe it's because I compartmentalize, people included. But I've never really felt like I bonded with someone over trauma. I feel like I have an assignment.
Yeah.
People are placed in my life, a reason, season, and what can I do to help you be better? You said something I think is so important. It's not a real bond. It's definitely not a real bond if we don't come together and figure out how to become better.
Right.
Because when we think about a bond, it's something that's tight, but it's a positive.
Absolutely.
Pain may have brought us to meet.
Right.
But pain should not continue to ride throughout our connection. It's like, it's if you see me with the taller people on my shoe, don't let me keep walking around with it.
Let me know. Right.
It's on there. Take it off, pull it off for me if you see it.
Right.
So I think that's
what?
Coach, all this running you've been doing. Spirit been speaking to the coach. I'm trying to tell you.
The Spirit been doing a lot of things, been taking me through the ringer, okay? So, so I'm just trying to extract these lessons. I'm fighting for my life, but I'm here.
No, you running for your life.
I'm running for my life.
Running for your life.
That's good.
You ain't fighting. You
That's
running.
good. That's good.
Running.
Yeah. I'm trying.
No, you're doing.
I'm trying,
you're
man.
Doing.
It's tough.
At what moment have you ran that it wasn't difficult?
That's so crazy you asked me that, because my birthday was last week, and I started my day with a run. Mm-hmm. And I didn't have a set goal, just running around my neighborhood. And running is such an interesting thing because it could be so exhilarating, but it really is mental more than anything else. Just like, I mean, I feel like that's life, right? Like, mm-hmm. Yes, your body, like, you have to make sure you're not in pain, make sure you get your stretches in, make sure you, it helps not, having excess weight, as you can imagine, running. So obviously there's like these physical things, but it really is mental. Like, I got to keep going. So I went for a birthday run, and I'm like, Lord, give me strength, give me endurance, give me willpower, because I want to do well, and I want to be able to really finish my run feeling accomplished. Okay. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm like just barely hanging on to finish, right? So I went for the run. I think I did like 2.49 miles, which is even crazy because it's basically almost like a 5K I did just straight running. And I told myself, all right, when you get to the last block, you're going to do a sprint, which, is like you just take off. Right. And this was a crazy experience, and it was the first time I felt this way where, mind you, I had just finished my run, so I'm exhausted, but I'm like at that last block, like, all right, you going to sprint to the end, and then you going to, cool down and just walk it off. I really was running so fast that it felt like I was flying. And that was the first time I ever had that experience where I was like, mind you, this is the end of the run, so my body is wore out. I'm over it. But I just said, you're going to finish strong. You're going to just empty the tank. And I was like, Lord, afterwards, I was like, what was that about? Like, because I just felt like I was flying. Like, I never had that type of experience before. And it's just, I don't know, it was exhilarating. It was exhilarating. I forgot the question you asked me, but it was. No, I needed to share that. I need to tell somebody.
So the coach just told us that you have to be able to allow God to flip the script. And when the flip is script, what should make you exhausted and weak at the end actually made you feel stronger.
Yeah.
And gave you more speed at the end.
It did.
Going through grief doesn't have to empty you at the end. It actually can make you stronger.
Yeah.
At the end.
Wow.
When the right person is flipping the script. When you go through the process, the stages.
Yeah.
And properly work through it.
Yeah.
You are stronger at the end. I'm stronger now than I was a year ago. People like, oh, anniversary coming up. Yeah. Pastoral anniversary. 1 year anniversary of my mom passing. I feel invigorated. I can smile and it's not fake.
Yeah.
I can go to my tailor and say, come on, put it together. I want to be fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm stronger now because I went what I've been through. And that's what grief can do for you. if you do the work.
If you do the work. I was just about to ask you for somebody that lost a loved one, because I lost a loved one about 9 years ago. It was my grandfather, and I was in my 20s. I might have been like 23 or 24 when he passed, and he had prostate cancer that had spread, and I think my grandfather was like 81, 82. So there was a decline there, but I was really in denial. And my grandfather was very active, well into his 80s, like still up on the ladder, fixing stuff like that. Hey, what you doing up there? And he just was moving, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if it was me being young and maybe naive or just in my own world, where even though I literally saw him decline, I just never thought. And it also has to do with him as a person. You just thought he was going to live forever. Yeah. You never thought something like that could happen to him, even though we know death happens to everyone. Yeah. So at the time, it's an interesting thing, because I definitely have grieved my grandfather. I can admit that sometimes I feel like I want to suppress those memories and emotions, and I make myself not suppress them, because I don't ever want to like forget the sound of his voice or forget the memories. But as we know, it's painful. But I think that since I'm older now, there's so many things he left behind that I never even understood at the time. And it's not like we never had a conversation. I don't think he had that conversation with anybody about that it was going to be his time to go, you know? And I think it makes it hard when that conversation isn't had, you know, when there's time to prepare. Yeah. And that loved one can say, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is what I want y'all to do. Like, not that it's easy, but it's a little bit of closure there. With my grandfather, it wasn't that closure. And I would say his death has been the only one in my life that really like was like, okay, that hurt. You know what I mean? I might have hurt a distant relatives, but that right there, that's like, that hurt. And it hurts my entire family, because he was the patriarch of our family. And it's like, it's just an interesting thing, because I do think it helps, of course, the way it happens, depending on how old they are, if they lived a good life, if they did everything they wanted to do, if you kind of knew it was coming. Again, it doesn't make it easier, but I feel like you could prepare a little better versus it just being something super sudden and you couldn't even expect that. You know, now you got to this is your reality now, and life goes on. Yeah. The world doesn't stop because you lost your loved one. And I think that's what's painful. It's like, you might be able to stop and just take some time, but the world keeps moving. Yeah. And you're like, but this just happened to me. I just lost this person. Like, why are we going on business as usual? You know? So for me, the grief is, I feel it being more potent when it comes to like seasons in my life. And like, even this season I'm in now, where the Lord is, I'm just on this journey with the Lord, and he's like showing me so many things and opening my eyes to so many things. I had to realize, like, I think I'm grieving. Like, I think I'm grieving my old life. Even though I don't even want it no more. You know what I'm saying? You know, I don't even want it, but I'm still grieving this new person I'm becoming, because I've never been her before. So this is new, and we all have we all could have a fear of the unknown. Mm-hmm. But I remember being in that point where I'm like, all right, Lord, like I need a little more clarity around this. And somehow I got into the Book of Lamentations in the Bible, and I looked up the word lament. And I'm sure, I know it was the Holy Spirit that led me there, because I'm like, why else would, like, I wouldn't have thought to do that and look up that word to see what it means. And it just talks about like extreme sorrow and grief. Mm-hmm. And I remember saying, I'm like, Lord, I think I'm lamenting the past and the seasons and just this new world you got me in that I don't even know. I don't know. I just got to do what I feel in my heart you're calling me to do. And I always think about what you said, and I forgot where and when you said this, talking about like, okay, what would I even go back to? Like, you were talking about wrestling with God,
Mm-hmm.
and you might be wrestling about the season you're in. And even if you want to throw in the towel, like, I'm done with this, what am I going back to? Not fulfilling purpose, not being obedient,
Right.
not having faith on this level to do some things that I've chosen to do. That's not an option.
Yeah. It's okay to lament. But at some point, you transition from lamenting back to rejoicing, to individuals who are grieving, whether it's recent or it's been a minute.
Yeah.
Because it could be a minute, but you haven't grieved properly.
Right.
Identify where you are. And when I say that, I don't mean in your stages of grief. Because it's no sequence, right, or, but rather just identify where you are and get in touch with self to figure out what's making me feel this way. You can lose a loved one and not be grieving them.
That's true.
You just grieving.
Right.
Because something else is going on in your life. And the grief of the loved one may not show up till later on. Some people grieve people transition not because they're going to miss them, but because they're going to miss what they got from them.
That's so true.
So people's grief is for different reasons. But what I say is that in every form of grief, there's not always closure. Anybody who knows me knows that in 2010 I lost my father, and he was service funeralized, and I found out 2 days afterwards. So there was no be by his side, close that casket, watch him go on the ground. There was none of that. But I've been able to eulogize and help other people in transitions of their fathers.
Yeah.
And so God will allow what you didn't experience to help you in helping other people and finding strength. And so we don't always get to dictate the how.
Yeah.
But ultimately we understand that there's a reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grief is real. Pain is real. Not acknowledging it will only hold you up.
Absolutely.
And hurt you. But when you can acknowledge it, then you can make the steps to healing from it. We should not be okay with not being whole. We should not be okay with living broken lives.
Yeah.
When we can walk in healing. We should not be okay with thinking that when we're grieving, we have to be strong.
Yeah.
That's a lie. Cry. Feel. Do all the healthy things that you can do.
Right.
Minimize the unhealthy.
Yeah, seriously, because they're
going to happen.
Yeah,
they're going to happen. You know what I mean? We're not going to pretend like people don't try to, I said it before, in the words of Solange, drink it away, smoke it away, sex it away. We're not going to pretend like those things don't exist.
Right.
They exist.
Yeah.
But we need to be mindful that what we're using to cope doesn't become a dependency.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because we shouldn't dictate other people's healing and other people's grieving. But we should be able to support them and be able to say, hey, listen.
Right.
I share this real fast. My mom passed, my family, they like to, they like that natural herb, And I'm like, listen, you wouldn't get high in front of this door when my mother was alive, and you ain't gonna do it right now. Right. Go to the corner with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to hit too, but I gotta host people. You know what I mean? I gotta make sure people got their chicken and their cake and their pie and their soda and their water. Later. You know what I mean? Then y'all want to come in and eat up everything. Right. Listen. I get it. It's your form of grief. I get it.
Yeah. No,
but
seriously.
we're going to do it in moderation. Yeah. We're going to be respectful.
Yes.
In what we do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I ain't telling you how to do it. That's your thing.
That's your thing. But we need to try. Let's try. Yes. You know what I mean? Not just, oh snap, it's gonna be a rough day. Let me just get this out the way right now. No, let's see how the day goes. let's see how things go. Let's not just, all right, let me just do this proactively. We just gonna get this out the way. No, let's actually put forth an effort to say, you know what? This is what I reach for. It's just an automatic. This is my vice. And I've had this thing I've been repeating lately where I feel like sometimes we can have like adult pacifiers, like passies. We have these things we reach for. Now, it's not a binky. We're not putting in our mouths. Maybe we are, right?
Right.
But let's try to step away from the adult pacifiers. Let's try to self-soothe.
Yeah. Or God soothe.
Well, yes, absolutely. For sure.
What if every time when I had a bad day, instead of coming in and pouring a drink or a glass of wine, I went and prayed? Now, this requires us raising a standard.
Absolutely.
Like, it's one thing to drink socially. It's another thing when you drink because this is how I exhale for the day. Like, so that's a dependency.
Absolutely.
And if you're not careful, and recently I was having a conversation with a friend about this, when things are rough, it's like, I had to come in, I had to take a shot, have a glass of wine. I needed that. Did you need that? Or did you want that? And I think that is, at some point worth a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Healthy adult pacifiers. All right.
I like that.
Yeah. If this is the pacifier that I need, what are some healthy ones that we can explore? And that will help us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, you run. I wish that I lived somewhere where I could golf all seasons. And I'm talking about golf. I ain't talking about Top Golf.
Like real golf.
Real golf. Because that's relaxing for me. So everybody has their, their assistance, their aid. But if we can find something that's healthy for us, that's going to make us better.
Yeah.
And cling to it.
Yeah.
When we need it.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Like you said, that deserves its own conversation. Yeah. And I think one of the things that just excites me when we have these conversations is because we understand and we have tools that have worked for us.
Yes.
Obviously, anybody watching or listening can try it or take away from it, what we're suggesting or what we even do. But we're showing that it is possible. And that's why I had to let you know how much seeing your experience from the outside, how much it impacted me, especially knowing how tight your mom was to your family. Y'all don't play about her, and a lot of other people don't either. You know what I mean? So to see that dynamic, even though I didn't have the pleasure of meeting her, but to see how her presence still impacts people to this day, you know what I'm saying? And knowing how tight you were with your mom and to see you do what needed to be done, but also continue your assignment, that's inspiring to a lot of people. And it doesn't go unnoticed. You know what I mean? You don't know how much of a blessing you are. And again, it's not just that situation. It's so many different situations. But I believe when you go through stuff like that, that's when you're put to the test, not only for yourself, but for other people. Because if you're getting up every Sunday, educating us and preaching to us and teaching us what we should be doing in times of hurt and pain and trauma and grief, but you're not exercising it, then what are we really doing here? Yeah. I'm not going to say how can I trust you, but what example are you setting?
Exactly.
So to see it, it's like, wow, like this wasn't a distant relative. This was your mom. Like, but God's grace clearly
absolutely
has been sufficient.
Last thing I say, for 7 years, I came upstairs from my office, walked to the back of the sanctuary, and passed by the same corner to get down that right aisle. And for 7 years, 52 Sundays out the year, my mother sat in that last row at that end pew. And for 7 years, I walked past her. And then I had to learn how to still keep coming up the steps and walking past.
Yeah.
If somebody asks you, what does the strength of God look like in human form? I'll be a model for it.
Yeah.
You can't survive grief without the strength of God.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
You could try, but you can't survive it without the strength of God. You don't have it in you
not
on
possible.
Your own. You know? Because if you had it, you would get yourself through a whole lot of other stuff. God gives you reasons to keep coming back, to remember.
Yeah.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not to your own understandings. In all your ways acknowledge him, and God will direct your path.
Yeah.
And my steps have been ordered. And my steps have gotten wider. Because I realize I can't do this on my own. I need strength. Not human strength. That will be frail, and when I need it, not be present.
Right. Yeah.
But I need the strength of God that pushes me every day, even when I don't want to get up.
Yeah.
Even when I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, hats off. I don't got a hat on today. But my imaginary hat. It's fresh. But seriously, hats off to you.
Thank
you. You are an inspiration in so many ways. I appreciate you. I appreciate your vulnerability. Us touching on this, how you are going to help and continue to help so many people in their grief and experiences that none of us can control. We just got to roll with the punches, and it's not always easy. But yes, you are an inspiration to many.
Thank you.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you for this time.
Absolutely.
I feel like a special guest.
Yes.
Wellness Wednesday. Like I feel like
not a Wellness Wednesday
cameo. You know what I mean? Like on the Today Show.
Right. Well, I'm glad I made you feel that way. I'm glad because you deserve it.
I appreciate it.
Yes, we did it again. Another episode under our belt.
We did.
Okay, we gonna we got a few things from this conversation.
Absolutely.
We could touch on, but I really like that healthy adult pacifiers. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So
we're going to get some pacifiers to put on the table.
Some binkies.
Yeah, some binkies. Like, yes, that would be perfect. The ones that light
up. With the chain around it. All right, Joe. You funny.
Listen, we have a good time here.
We do. We were supposed to be real serious today, but you know.
We can't help it.
No.
We'll grow up.
We will.
Later.
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
so
let me say.
What?
If you liking it, share it.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Subscribe. Tell people about
Yes.
Honest Exchanges. This is good
Yes.
conversation.
It is.
You know,
Always.
like you can't get this kind of conversation nowhere else. You know, and I feel like, you know, we talked about this,
What?
but I feel like at some point we're gonna have to do an Honest Exchange live.
Yes, we are. Yes, we really are. We got to figure that out.
Yeah.
But it's just so many things. So we got so many opportunities.
Yeah.
The sky is the limit.
Absolutely.
Limitless skies.
Absolutely. In the house.
In the house.